and welcome back to my channel. I am wrapping up week 5 of rehab. The last couple of weeks has been a mix of incorporating some steeper climbing as well as some smaller holds. On one hand, it's exciting to be able to start trying some harder climbs again. On the other, it's been a little bit of a challenge for my ego just because I'm not feeling super strong on the steeper climbing. But it's, just taking a second for my body to get used to it again. And then also just making sure that my finger is feeling okay on the climbs. There's definitely a bit more pain with the steeper climbing than there was on the vert. I still think it's within a reasonable amount, and I've just been keeping track of how it's feeling in the following days after a session. So last week I got on some steeper roof climbing. I only went up to the white tag level because the holds were still big enough to where it was fine, and then they set the 30 last week as well, so I am going to be getting on those climbs today.
There were 2 roof sets that were new to me, and in the previous session I had done the red and green tags in the roofs and definitely felt pretty rusty on the steeper movement. And then today felt better warming up at those lower grades, but as I got into the white tags, I was definitely kind of reading things wrong and not quite feeling as solid on the steeper type movement. But luckily it was at a grade that I was still able to make adjustments on the wall. I was also definitely still climbing pretty hesitantly, especially on moves where I had to really weight the left hand. For example, on this move, rather than going for the bump straight away, I was seeing if I could match and go a little bit more controlled, but realized that I did need to bump, which ended up being fine. And then the last white tag in the roof was a dyno, where you get into this press position and have to jump out of it while kind of rotating around. And it definitely took me a second to build up the courage to go for it, but there was also a big part of me that didn't want to try it multiple times. So I fully committed and fortunately was able to stick it. The left-hand holds after pulling the lip were definitely a little small, so I definitely still had some hesitancy on those moves where I had to move more powerfully off of the left hand. Then I moved on to the next roof. Again, just feeling a little bit less comfortable, both reading sequences and also just feeling like my movement was natural. I did look at some of the yellow tags in the roofs, and they definitely looked too intense, I think, for the yellow tag level. The vert so far has been fine, and I think not really going any steeper than 30 degrees on the yellow tag level for now would be best. And even the 30 degrees, which is what I did this week, felt like it could be pushing the line a little bit. Now, on to this week's climbs. They reset the 30 and they did it in 2 rounds. I had originally climbed on the initial set and a little bit of the fill in already. The white tags felt pretty good. There was definitely some smaller holds on some of them, like this orange climb. So I was definitely, again, still a little more hesitant on both moves where I had to move dynamically with my left hand and also more dynamically off of the left hand. On some of them, I definitely still dropped the pinky just to try and protect it a little bit. Like I said, I think the 30-degree angle is really where the line is and where I'm kind of pushing the limit on what the finger can tolerate. So it's definitely something I just need to stay mindful of. The white tags didn't give me too much trouble, but the yellow tags were definitely a step up. There were a lot of just really hard moves on the set, and I also for sure noticed that my capacity is down, so trying to put entire climbs together is a little bit of a challenge at the moment, but there were a couple of climbs that I was able to work out all of the moves on. The first is this black climb. This big rail that I'm on is actually not as juggy as you would think it would be. It's kind of slopey at that angle, and it's a pretty tough shoulder move into a small crimp on the volume. And I don't want to make excuses, but conditions were definitely not great on this day. Everything felt just a little bit harder to hold on to. I did try it from the start a few times, but fell on the shoulder move to the volume. I also wanted to try this pink climb. I knew there was a really big move in the middle that I had seen a lot of people have trouble on, so I wanted to first try the big move just to see what it felt like, and fortunately I was able to do it on my first try. So then I went back to the start to try and work out the beginning. I was pretty happy to link it from the dead point to the really big move. But yeah, capacity is definitely down, and I tried it from the start a couple times but fell on the right hand dead point, and I was pretty gassed at that point, so I ended the session there.
Definitely a tough session. I think as far as the finger goes, probably not doing any more than once a week on those more intense climbs. But I am curious just to see where I'm at strength-wise on the steeper climbing. So I think next week would be a good time to check in on the moonboard benchmark climbs that I've been checking in on periodically. And then, yeah, just once a week, maybe trying some harder level climbs. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.